Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Red Devils Talk, and I wanted to talk about the loss to West Ham, but you've seen it everywhere already. And the official statement of the club, Erik ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United manager. Ruud van Nistelrooy will be the interim manager, while Ineos recruit a new manager for Manchester United. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like. We have to talk about it. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Erik ten Hag leaving his role as United manager. Who do you want to be the next Man United manager? Who do you think is good enough? Let me know. I want to see the suggestions and the opinions of you guys, because for me it's a bittersweet moment. I didn't want Ten Hag to be sacked because now we have to reset and start all over again and have a new project, so to say. Omar Barada said by 2028 he wants to be winning the Premier League title. I guess it's possible now if you bring in a manager that does well, but who's going to come in and do well? We've had managers come in that are world class in terms of their status and what they've achieved in the game, and they certainly have failed at Man United. And now we are managerless again. And on the one hand, people are kind of rejoicing that Ten Hag is sacked. They wanted us to lose yesterday, and we did. And this is what they wanted because they were fed up with Ten Hag already, and that's fair. People have their own opinions. I have mine. And on the one hand, Ten Hag was a good manager for us. We have very good wins under him. Won 2 trophies in 2 seasons, as he said. But it wasn't the trophies that keep you in a job. It was the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. 2 trophies that you look at as cups along the way. And we have seen our rivals overtake us in lots of departments, not just on the football pitch. And the final piece of the jigsaw people thought was Erik ten Hag. Before the season started, a lot of people were questioning why did Ineos keep him? Why did they not just let him go at the end of the season after the FA Cup final? There were so many rumors and news that was being spoken about who's going to be the next United manager. And now that is what we have to look to. Who's going to be the next United manager? Before this news came out, it was said by the likes of Talksport and other outlets that Xavi Hernandez from Barcelona is going to be the next United manager, is one of the top targets. It's also been reported that Julian Nagelsmann, the German coach, he is also a top target for us. And in my opinion, we should rather go for him over Xavi Hernandez, if that is the two options that is being weighed out to be the next United manager. Because I would certainly want to have him rather than Xavi, in my opinion. But it's not my decision. I can say who I want, but it might not be a guaranteed success under whatever the next Man United manager is, whoever that might be. Ten Hag took us where he did, but finishing the Premier League in 8th last season, this season we are in 14th place. Only one win out of 9 games. We only won 13 Premier League games in 11 months. It's dire stats. And I'm not one to talk about stats, but these are the facts that are out there. And now Erik ten Hag is another manager who lost his job because of players, in my opinion, failing to take accountability and responsibility for their performances. You can see in the games, we start well, we play well, and then in the second half, we lose concentration and focus, and we allow teams to come back. We allow teams to run over us and win against us when we should be winning those games. We have the players capable of doing that, but it hasn't happened. Last season, you can talk about the injuries that did hamper our season, but in certain games, he had the players to win those games, and he still couldn't get wins. Maybe he's, in my opinion, reached his final capacity with this team. Maybe he cannot take them any further forward, and that is why the decision was made. Now, it's a decision, in my opinion, that had to happen, but it's unexpected in its timing. But Ineos must have a plan. They certainly had to have looked at this and thought, what is the next option? Do we let him go or do we keep him? And they had to make a decision because we keep falling further and further down the table. We are only, if you have to put it that way, 7 points ahead of the relegation zone. That's not acceptable. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Mourinho got sacked for way less than that. So the standards have fallen really, really low. It's unacceptable how far we have fallen. And unfortunately, in today's game, it's a results based business. If you don't get results, you do not keep your job as a manager. The time of having a manager stay for 10 years plus might be gone, because whoever comes in next, it's not a guaranteed success. They might also end up failing 2, 3 years down the line, and then we have to look for another manager. And will the cycle continue of us sacking managers and bringing in a new manager for 2 or 3 years and then moving on? I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next. I certainly am not a fortune teller. But what has to be the point right now is that we have to bring in the right manager. But who is that? What type of play are we going to want to get depending on the manager that comes in? A possession-based system, a counter-attacking system, a fluid system of defense and attack, whether with or without the ball? I don't know. I'll certainly do my research and pick about 2 or 3 managers that I would think should be the candidates to be Manchester United manager, but it's not my decision to make. I'm just a fan that is concerned that its club is not where it should be. And just like you, I am not happy about the West Ham loss. But now we are given an excuse to forget about it because the manager that was in charge of that game is no longer there. What happens on Wednesday against Leicester City? Ruud van Nistelrooy is the interim manager. Do we instantly see a upturn in form? Do the players now start playing better and start scoring goals and we start being deadly again in front because Erik ten Hag is no longer there? Yeah, that might happen. A new manager bounce, an interim manager bounce normally happens. But what is the long-term plan? What is Ineos, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, etc.? What is their plan for us going forward? Because whoever they bring in now will be their manager that they chose. Erik ten Hag was the last manager of the Ed Woodward era in terms of appointing managers. Now, they have to make the right decision because it's going to be very, very detrimental if they choose the wrong manager. Now, of course, the right manager has to be who the fans want. Of course, that is a very, very big decision. But also, they need to make a footballing decision and find a manager that, one, can work with these players, and two, get the best out of them and make us play in a much more consistent way that is, in my opinion, sustainable for the long term and not only game to game. But we can only judge the new manager when the new manager comes in. Ineos will now have, as I said, Ruud van Nistelrooy as the interim manager, and he'll be in the dugout alongside Rene Hack. But what happens if the new manager comes in? Does he keep Ruud van Nistelrooy and Rene Hack, or does he bring in his own backroom staff? We don't know. But that is the reality of where we are as a club right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. I certainly don't know. And I do fear the worst, because where do we go from here? What type of club are we going to be? Are we just going to become a Chelsea and continually sack managers until we find the right one? It's a plan, but it's not a very sustainable plan. Do we become a team like Liverpool who get a manager with a good record and hope that it works? That's what we expected with Ten Hag. He won trophies at Ajax and we expected him to come and do better here, but he just, at this particular point, seemed like he's not good enough to coach at Manchester United. And even though he got all the players he wanted, now another manager has to come in and use those players that are not theirs. And do some of those players have to leave now next season because the manager that they were brought in by is no longer here? I don't know. The future doesn't seem very bright right now, and I'm in my own not feeling too good about the situation. I did not want Erik ten Hag to be sacked because of the whole resetting and having to start all over again. But we also were not very good underneath him. We had moments where we should be winning games, but we are not. And there are certain decisions that he made in game and before games that kind of went against what we needed to do in order to win a game. And thus we end up drawing or losing a game. I'm not a guy for stats, but the stats out there did not look good. It does not look good for Erik ten Hag. And in my opinion, who comes in next certainly will be under pressure to immediately have an upturn in form. There will be pressure on him to bring the best out of the likes of Rashford, Hoyland, Xerxes, Garnacho, you name it, Bruno, etc. They need to now perform in order to impress the new manager. So there will be an upturn in form. We will probably win games and make it look easy, simply because the pressure is no longer there that was there for Erik ten Hag. And certain players will feel that, hey, this is a new chance for me now. I can try and impress the new manager, or I can try and perform well to leave the club, etc. I don't know what's going to happen next. There's so many permutations. There are people celebrating Erik ten Hag being sacked. And there are people like me who are in between. It's not a happy moment. It's not a sad moment. It's just something that has happened and something that we have to deal with and talk about. But this is the reality of where we are as a club. And who comes in next? There has to be a proper plan in place. And I hope that is the case with Ineos and the footballing people that are above the Manchester United manager. Who comes in next? I don't know. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't know. But that is the reality of where we are at. But let me know in the comment section, like I said, who do you think you want to have next as Manchester United manager? Let me know what you think about Erik ten Hag and the decision that was made on him in terms of him no longer being Manchester United manager. Do you want Ruud van Nistelrooy as the permanent manager, not just only off an interim basis? Let me know. Let's talk about it. But subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thank you for watching the video thus far. I'm going to try and relax and get my head away from this for a moment, and then have to think about who is the next Man United manager. Till we see each other again soon, Red Devils. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.